Hello to all the Web3 enthusiasts out there. This is Max speaking, and welcome to the new episode of Synopsis. Today I'm hosting this one with the CEO of Zeus Network, Justin Wang. Hello, Justin. How are you today?
Good, fantastic. Thanks for inviting me over. Talk about Bitcoin Solana.
Yeah, always a pleasure, and see you're in a good mood, and this is a key factor for an insightful interview. So, guys, stay tuned. I think this discussion gonna be hot. So, I have a bunch of questions prepared about, of course, Zeus Network. But let's begin with you with the introduction. Could you please tell a bit about your background and how and why did you get into the Web3 industry?
Yeah, we built this company about 4 or 5 years, actually almost 5 years ago. It's not my first company. Obviously, I have exited two companies already. I did first startup in Dubai, doing a VPN business, and the second startup I did a payment processing cards. I sold it to DBS Ventures, and then third company I started in Taiwan 5 years ago, building on Solana. So it's been 5 years journeys to really building closely with Solana, and then until 2 years ago, we thought that why can we bring Bitcoin to Solana in a much more native way where we're using Solana to validate every Bitcoin transactions versus a lot of centralized bridges or parties that using their own custodian to validate it, to verify and prove. And frankly speaking, I'm the victims of BlockFi. So in fact, I lost most of my Bitcoin positions from the hacks, from the bankruptcies, not to mention FTXs as well. So I think hence the reason why we had a strong motive to really build this infrastructure layers to really enable the future Bitcoiners, Bitcoin holders, depositors are using leveraging this tech and coming to Solana.
Awesome. So thanks for the intro, and let's get to the main part. Well, the first question of it will be pretty short, but still one of the most important, I would say. So it is, why Bitcoin on Solana?
Well, you can treat Bitcoin as like it's like a gold mine, right? Instead
Yeah.
of real gold, is the digital gold where it can transform into payment portals, liquidity leverage, and into several platforms. And if if a layer doesn't have users or builders or projects applications, it doesn't really make sense to build Bitcoin overs. Oftentimes we have seen, in fact, last year, there was a hike spike Bitcoin layer 2 narrative. And if you look at those projects right now, 99% of them are dead already. And then that tells us, Bitcoin doesn't need a new layers. In fact, Bitcoin needs a layer that has abundant users. And then I can give you precise data right now that I think it's 85% of on-chain value and transactions are all happening on Solana right now. And if that isn't the best place for Bitcoin to deposit into, I don't know which chain people are arguing that can provide sustainable yield. We also have to look into users' perspective where is the organic yield, right, for Bitcoin depositor and then liquidities. I mean, if a application doesn't have a user, there's no way they can generate revenues. If there isn't revenues, there wouldn't be yield as well. So I think by far Solana is providing the most sustainable yield across all entire industries. Um, we believe in Solana obviously since 2020. It was a bet, it was a gamble. But looking back right now, is that this is a chain that has constantly going through battles. $8, FTX, all these incidents. But what I think what is the best for Barcelona isn't about the tech. Obviously, the tech is usable on a daily basis, but I think the social layer aspect, I think that is something that people have often neglect. You can always have better tech every year. In fact, there's always better technology, blockchains coming out every years. But social layer and consensus is something that is hard to replicate. And we're seeing Solana, historically speaking, we are seeing Solana has overcame many times from the past. So I'm very excited. I think in fact today Zeus Networks as an info layer on Solana for Bitcoins, we just hit all-time high on the TVL. So I know we have only been mainnet for 6 months, and we're slowly showing strong growth, especially from retail and institutional demands.
Absolutely. Sounds great and sounds reasonable. And taking a little bit deeper dive into the technological part of the story, how exactly do you make Solana native Bitcoin?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
How exactly do you make Solana native Bitcoin?
Yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of ways to tokenize Bitcoin. In 2017, 2018, actually, BitGo worked with WBTC, and then wrapped on into Ethereum. I think even until today, their TVLs are still sitting at about 8.7 billion TVL for WBTC. It's being widely trusted by a lot of institutions and then wells or retails. But if you look at their tech and their architectures, it's still validated by a group of merchants, especially by 21 companies. It's something that, what if a few merchants went offline, or what if the big goal as a custodian has issues, a lot of what if, right? And if we took that narrative, took that perspective into nowadays where I start asking a question to myself where can we have native Bitcoins on Solana where Solana is the blockchain that validate, proves, mint, and burn your Bitcoins. So I think what Zeus is trying to do right here is that we're not the one validating your Bitcoin. In fact, we are a layer extension to Solana. We're not layer two, layer three. We enhance Solana in a way that when somebody wants to deposit Bitcoin into Solana, we will ask Solana as a blockchain to generate a Bitcoin address. And then the Bitcoin address will receive a Bitcoin, and Solana will be the one that validates every transaction that whoever deposit into the address. So pretty much, in the technical terms, we enable Solana to validate SPV verifications into the Solana blocks. And once they validate, we will mint whatever is given versions to Solana. Right now, we have zBTC, which is doing phenomenal. I think we're the third biggest Bitcoin on Solana by far, and I believe in the future we will have more versions out of this as well.
Wow, awesome. So I would like to highlight one thing you just mentioned that for me was like a lightning strike, I would say. Never thought about this, but seems extremely reasonable. So tokenizing Bitcoin. Everyone is speaking about RWA, tokenizing real gold, some other stuff. And this is the first time I actually hear about tokenizing the digital gold as Bitcoin. So a very smart approach, and you got to think about it more. Wonderful. And speaking about like some backlashes of this approach, so there is a group of traditionalist Bitcoiners, call them evangelists, Bitcoin maxis, OGs, whatever. And these guys are against any other protocols occupying the block space or using the Bitcoin network, not the way Satoshi intended originally. Well, the question is, have you ever faced backlash from these cypherpunk Bitcoin OGs?
Well, I'm known as in a space where I'm the biggest scammers to a lot of Bitcoin OGs, because I've encountered a lot of criticisms and critiques about what we are doing is something against Satoshi's visions, which I'm completely disagree. That a lot of OGs they're just not too naive in the way that they haven't even spent the time to read the white papers, right? The reason why we're able to technically integrate Solana into Bitcoin's SPV is that Satoshi made this. In his white paper, he made a SPV, a section of SPV where you can verify and validate Bitcoin transactions without running a full Bitcoin nodes. And then these opens another door, right? Where people like us will take this advantage, technical advantage, and implement it into Solana. We are still providing one how to attack. In fact, I think across the board, we are the only player that are offering these solutions. And there are different phases of OGs, right? If when Bitcoin started, I mean, when ICOs came out 2017, if you ask Bitcoin OG deposit into Ethereum, they would think that hell no. But in 2022, DeFi summer, I mean 2020 DeFi summer to 2022, we're seeing WBTC from less than like $1 billion TVL to almost 7 to 8 billion, right? And we're seeing more Aave, I mean, seeing more Bitcoin depositing to Aave and different DeFi platforms across Ethereum ecosystems. And fast forward to days, we have Bitcoin layer two, where Zeus Networks. We'll talk about how can we make Bitcoin much more liquid and utilized across different blockchains. I mean, there are a lot of ways to do it, right? There's a centralized way like CBBTC, WBTC, XBTC from OKX, or there are solutions like Zeus, permissionless Bitcoins where you can deposit anytime, anywhere, no KYC, KYB.
Absolutely. Agree with everything what has just been said. So let's continue with discussing Zeus network more closely. So we know already know the reasons to start it all. Could you please tell us what has been the hardest thing that when developing Zeus network?
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. Oh, sorry, you mean how did we start it, or
No,
why
no,
is
no.
it
I
important?
mean, what difficulties did you face? What was the hardest thing when developing
Oh,
network?
I think the hardest part isn't about tech. Tech can always be solved by people, right? And you have the right people in the right place, right mind, right brain. You can literally achieve anything nowadays. But the hardest part is to able to convince people that this tech is very important to the ecosystem, right? And it took us more than a year to convince to a lot of VCs, a lot of OGs, where you don't have to put your Bitcoin in idles. You can utilize your Bitcoin into somewhere else and earn the yield. And fast forward right now that when we start this Zeus network as a company, there was only 0.27% of Bitcoin putting on chain, and right now we have about 0.42. Every 0.1% represents hundreds of millions of dollars that are putting on into blockchain. So we're still seeing growth. It's better than sitting back where you're seeing less Bitcoin putting onto blockchains. And then I can be assured that Bitcoin is $1 trillion asset class. Anyone that are building on top of it will have a shot to become $1 billion companies that have access to for everyone that has Bitcoin in the wallet and use it on a daily basis. So it's a grind. When we started companies, there was like 100 plus Bitcoin company around Ordinal rooms, Bitcoin layer two, but now you're literally, I think it's only like 10%, well, less than 10% of the company are surviving on this narrative and the sectors. So, but I'm so very optimistic and then bullish in the coming years where whoever had built a right Bitcoin business has the chance to become the next $1 billion company.
Wow, awesome. So we'll be tracking this path of success. And what parts of the Zeus ecosystem are you personally most excited about and why? What you like most?
Well, the thing about Zeus is offering here is we're not a custodian company. We're not a single-sided company where we are just zBTC Zeus. Zeus is like a layer, right? It's like an ecosystem. Right now we have three dApps building on top of Zeus. I think hopefully by the end of this year we should have 5 to 6 dApps using us as a layer to build on top of into Solana. So you can pretty much see see Zeus as like a Bitcoin ecosystem on Solana, right? We
Yeah,
enable future founder developers to build Bitcoin application onto Solana. I think historically speaking, there is no way you can build Bitcoin applications on chain into the Bitcoin or elsewhere. But right now, you don't have to build a Solana application. You can build a Bitcoin application into Solana through us. So, zBTC has been phenomenon in terms of data on chain metrics. What if there are more zBTC through Zeus, right? I think one zBTC we brought almost $40 million TVLs already organically. And if there's 10 more versions of tokenized Bitcoin through Zeus to Solana, we can see on the liquidity, the TVLs hit higher drastically. So I'm very optimistic, right? I talk to a lot of founders, a lot of protocols on Solana that if there is a player like Zeus that are constantly breaking the technical barrier between Solana and Bitcoin, one day people will realize that tokenized Bitcoin could become the next alpha and a meta for on-chain business. Yeah.
sure. No doubt actually in this. And speaking about the apps and the ideas, there are several multi-chain DApp ideas to build on ZPL listed in the Zeus documentation. Which ones are your personal favorites?
Well, I like BTC So. I think we launched this about almost 2 months, a month and a half ago, where you can stake Soul in Bitcoin. Historically, you can only stake SOL to earn more SOL. But there isn't a much better fashion way to accumulate Bitcoin, right? Right now, you probably have the highest yield that offering right now is probably spend to earn Bitcoin by Bitcoin credit card offering by several exchanges, or you just simply have to use your fiat to buy Bitcoin. But what if you can now buy, sell, and accumulate Bitcoins without losing the SOL positions? I think this is something that people are very excited to hear because there's not a better way to accumulate Bitcoin than this. So I think without Zeus, there wouldn't be such a product coming out because every Bitcoin people accumulate through their Solana yield can be withdrawn into native Bitcoins. So I mean, on the back on how the technology works was where they DCA their yield into zBTC, but on the user on the UI they can deposit withdraw into native Bitcoin. So I think people are gonna be underratedly misunderstood about what we're doing right now is it's for the massive market, right? I think if you go on the street, uh, ask people what is Bitcoin, everyone's gonna know about Bitcoin. But if you ask them how do you accumulate or earn Bitcoin, nobody knows how to do it. So if you tell somebody that you can buy, sell, and earn Bitcoin, I think people are likely gonna be fascinated by these ideas.
Well, awesome. And we already spoke about some ideas about what has been launched recently, and maybe a good time for some announcements and teasers. Could you please tell us what's next on Zeus Network's roadmap?
We're moving very ambitious in a good way that we just launched V2, Zeus V2. In V1, the average time to deposit Bitcoin to Solana is about 55 to 62 minutes. We have cut into 22 to 37. I think Zeus V3, hopefully by launching by the end of this year's, we can cut from depositing time from 30 minutes to 5 to 10 minutes. So sending Bitcoin to Solana will be faster than using Bitcoin to Coinbase or Binance or any other exchanges. Just imagine that 97% of Bitcoin trading value are still depending on centralized exchanges. If we just take 10 to 20% of that trading volume to Solana through Zeus, we can have a lot of innovation that are onboarding these Bitcoin liquidity to Solana massively. And second, we want to put more emphasis and focus on Zeus ecosystem where we want to enable more Bitcoin application building on top of us. So, I mean, a lot of you are, if you are familiar with Zeus, you can go on Zeus scans. You can see a lot of, I mean, Apollo and BTC so are the two applications that are driving these on-chain interaction between Bitcoin and Solana. What if there are 10 more applications? What if there are 20 more applications? You can see that there's going to be more inflow, more outflow. I think the idea of Zeus is not here to lock your Bitcoin to Solana. The idea is what we're trying to do is a ecosystem where allows you to permissionlessly withdraw and deposit into Solana with no KYC, KYB anytime, anywhere you want. So very, very excited. In fact, we have done over $100 million of trading volumes between Bitcoin and Solana for the last 6 months since we got mainnets. And I'm pretty sure that this number will drastically go up for the next few months and years as well.
Awesome, sounds exciting. And speaking a little more about the expectations from the at least nearest future, in your opinion, Justin, where do the biggest Web3 innovation happen in 2025 and will be happening in like 2026? And how is Zeus aligning with these innovations?
Yeah, for sure. I think we have always been talking about on-chain stocks, RWAs, putting on chains.
Yeah.
For me, that is not the most important thing. I think the most important thing is still putting Bitcoin business into on-chains, right? I think we're gonna see more Wall Street people creating structured products around Bitcoin as a business. But for the on-chain business wise for Bitcoins, we still need better infra to facilitate to onboard next wave of developers and founders. And there has not been a better infra player than Zeus right now, especially for Solana, where you can easily deploy your Bitcoin application through Zeus to Solana without thinking about how to connect both together. And I think something I'm very excited, especially I talked to a lot of Wall Street institutions for the last few months, is that they want to figure out how can Bitcoin earn yield across different platforms. And I think you can treat Solana as like an internet marketplace where if you want to deposit your Bitcoin to Solana, there isn't better option than Zeus right now.
Well, great. And everything what has been already discussed sounds like a very exciting contribution to the entire industry. And I do believe that everyone who's watching us right now is really excited about this. But would be interesting to know actually who are you focused on and for whom, firstly, it is all being built. Could you please provide us with some image of your average user?
Yeah, it's really hard to track our user base. I mean, their identities because we don't KYC, KYB, right? But I was slowly realizing that we went from an average size of 0.02 to 0.03 BTC deposit to right now we have about 0.2 to 0.3. So we're seeing like a 10 times growth for the last 7 months ever since we got mainnets. And that just tells you that people trust us. Yeah, people trust us sending Bitcoin to Solana through Zeus instead of using Coinbase and or KX or Kraken. So I still envision this, right? Everyone's gonna have some Bitcoin on their portfolio or positions. And I think our user base will be fastly targeted by institutions. I know we've been working closely with some institutions for the last few weeks as well, where we've been asking how they feel about putting Bitcoin in Solana, and then what is the yield that they're satisfied with. So I think these are the things that we're going to be striving and targeting in the next few months. Obviously, retail can deposit as well. It's not just institution, but I think something that I'm seeing, right? Bitcoin has become much more institutional instruments for the last few weeks, few years. So if we can target these large institutions coming to Solana, even just 10% of that, I think Zeus can bring like a billions of TVL to Solana just by alone with that approach.
Wow, sounds awesome. And I would say that we came up to the final phase of this today's podcast. So since it's our first time at Synopsis, it's kind of an introductory one, but still so much insightful and a lot of things to think about. So for the ending, I have a few personal questions to you, if you don't mind. And the first one would be very interesting to know what Web3 trends do you personally follow right now? It will be very interesting to know for our viewers as well what the industry experts are keeping an eye on.
I mean, like I said, right? I think there are a few things that people have been talking about for the last few weeks is that RWA and on-chain stocks, and I think these things are going to be happening for the next few months and years because I mean Trump is pretty pro crypto right now, and especially U.S. has prioritized these sectors already. So we're going to see a mass adoptions, not just to retail, to Wall Street, to finance people that are actually going to come into the space, which is good for us. And last but not least, I think focus on Bitcoin business, right? It's a $1 trillion assets, 3 trillion, $3 to $4 trillion assets that there isn't even 1% of liquidity being used on chain. So whoever has the edge to bring that liquidity to on chain, even just 0.1%, you're already looking at billions of dollars already. So very excited to be part of this, to be a contender of this, where we want to have 1% of a Bitcoin liquidity into Solana through us.
Awesome. And the last one for today will be kind of an open question, a chance to address directly to our audience. So, could you please go ahead with some piece of advice? Of course, not a financial one, just anything, any piece of wisdom or call to action, whatever you find useful for people to hear right now. Please go ahead.
Well, when I got into space in the late 2015s to right now, I've seen like thousands of projects. I can tell you like at least 10,000, maybe close to 5 to 10,000 projects in and out, come in and come out, leave and come back. I think something that I have learned along the way is that market is going to turn shit someday, someday somehow. Market is going to turn good sometimes. But there are always a group of people that believe in the industry, believe in what are buildings, are constantly breaking the barrier between all these technologies that we have right now. So, support those people. Instead of supporting people that are trying to take advantage of this industry. So, the floor is yours. There are generational opportunities comes with generational research, right? So, research closely and invest wisely, and believe in the team that can potentially change the world, and especially for the industry as well.
Wow, a brilliant ending. So, guys, you've heard everything, nothing to add here. 100% agree. And for today, that's it. As I said, a kind of an introductory, a general discussion, but still with so many insights and so many philosophical points to think about. So, thank you very much, Justin, for joining in. Well, do hope to see you in more episodes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for our audience for watching till the end. Guys, you had a great piece of advice. You had a lot of insights to rewatch. So if you have any more questions left, drop it in the comment section. Follow Justin, follow Zeus on socials to stay tuned, stay updated. And yeah, for the day, that's it. See you in more episodes. Bye bye, everyone.